Okay, well, we'll see what happened. Let's go.
I want to know where you want the exchange to take place.
Police station. I don't want to be near
We're
him.
not going to the police station because that makes it unnormal for Mia. Just
fine.
give me a public place.
I'm
where-
fine. Grocery store El Rio, as long as I do not come in contact with him.
Well, she's 2. You can't just put her out and let
Oh,
her
no,
walk to you.
I'd rather exchange her with his mother than I do not want to come in
Or
contact.
you can have somebody on your side of the family take her. You don't have to go.
Do that as-
Okay. Or you can have somebody go with you so that you don't have to come in contact with him. They can just hand him the baby and the baby stuff, and that'll be all.
Welcome to What Had Happened Was.
Where we take a peek into actual court cases and give you commentary based on our unique perspective and experiences, and also give you informational tips and tricks to help you avoid a what had happened situation.
Before we get started, give us a thumbs up, a tasteful comment. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of every video as they come out. This message is for all our loyal listeners and supporters at What Had Happened Was, who have been requesting that we give them an email address where they can send us videos that they'd like for us to comment on. We heard you, now we've answered. Here's the address. The above address, whathathappenedwas47@gmail.com, is the address you can forward any videos that you'd like for us to comment on. Again, as long as it's a video we're willing to comment on, we'll have that. And if we do one of your videos, we will give you the shout out on the air. So here it is once again. This is our email address for those who like to send us videos that like us to comment on. It doesn't have to be just court cases, whatever it is that you like us to comment on. If it's political, we will not be talking about it. We don't get into politics. All defendants are considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
How often did she spend the night with you?
It would be every other weekend.
Okay. And that was every other weekend until 6 months ago?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you had Mia, were there any problems? Did Mia get sick? Did she get hurt? Did you learn to take care of her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
So she wasn't even going over to his house.
No.
She's going over to her grandparents' house with him for the weekend.
So they got family time over there. The grandparents.
She's going over to the so that he had his support system is there.
Yeah.
So the breakfast, whatever is getting made, oh no, you got to make the bottle like this, or you got to do it like this, or whatever. This is what you do, or whatever. This that. I'm quite sure.
So her allegations were baseless, basically.
Because so it's kind of irrelevant that he lives somewhere else because this child doesn't go to that place.
Right. Even he said it.
Which is probably why she didn't bring it up, because she knows that the child doesn't go to that place. Yeah. And now she's saying that now.
Yeah, because she did bring it up in this case. In fact, he has someone living with him, and I don't want him there. You know he doesn't go there.
I think
my family is a very strong knitted family.
Okay.
And so they had a very strong hand in helping me too. And
okay.
Showed me what it was.
And so if Mia spent the night with you now, would she spend the night with you at your place, or would y'all stay at your mom and dad's?
Well, the way that we had it before and the way that I would like to continue doing it is going to my parents and spending the night there with Mia so that Brenda can feel comfortable. Because I know it's somewhat weird to have another grown man here.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Granados. Ms. Go.
He's a liar.
She has to prove that he's not staying at his parents. Because she said,
the way she
his
said
family said that he doesn't do anything. How would his family know if they don't have, according to what she's saying, he doesn't interact with her and his family?
And according to what he just said just now, whenever he has his daughter for visits, it's at his family's house.
He goes over to his parents' house
there set up for him. So he's not
And she
there.
doesn't have any record in the 2.5 years this small child has been going to their house of any incidents of anything happening to them in the every other week, in the alternate weekends that she's been going there. She's been going there. That little girl's been there. Let's see, 52 it's 52 weeks in a year.
Yep.
She goes every other week, so that's 26, 52, another, so 2.5, 52 plus 13. So for 65 occasions that she's gone, she doesn't have an incident where this child has had any incidents in 65 occasions that this child has gone over every other weekend, basically, which, only the last 6 months, according to her, has been a problem. But she doesn't have any documentation for it.
Nothing.
Okay.
Gomez. You're muted, ma'am. Unmute yourself.
Yes, sorry.
Now, you heard what he said. Is that true?
No.
So she didn't go spend.
See? So now she on the court on the court record testified in agreement that for all the instances that this child has gone to go see her father, there has not been any record of incident, accident, hurt, harm, or danger to this child in over 2 years that this child's been going. The only thing she can say is that he didn't give her any money.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem. But you can't, once again, visitation and support go hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
The night with him at his parents' house?
I apologize. That part, yes. Every other
And so
weekend.
every other weekend she spent the night with him and she came home and she was fine?
Yes.
Okay. So what's not true?
That he did not financially give me anything.
He didn't buy stuff for her?
Not anything he gave me for her.
I notice every time they ask her a direct question that she don't want to answer, it's always or or something.
So she's trying to say that for 2 years he didn't give her any money, but she let the little girl go over there every other weekend, no problem. And she didn't take him to court before this time.
That doesn't even sound right. That sounds very disingenuous.
And I mean, at first I offered to provide diapers and stuff because he didn't have any. Little by little, his own parents purchased the stuff or he purchased the stuff and therefore their house had things.
But you know what? This doesn't, I don't know. Because once again, you're talking about a newborn child, an infant, that they have specific food needs, right? She's going to have this child eat specific food no matter where this child is. So for the 3 days that this child is there, if this child is eating this particular formula, everyone, if you have a child, put this in the comment section if you know for a fact that you know that you cannot just switch formulas in the middle of something if you have formula. And if they're eating a particular type of cereal, they have to have that particular type of cereal. Especially with a lot of children that have their gluten intolerance, and some children are lactose intolerant and things like that. Whatever milk they're drinking, that's the milk that people are going to give them. People are not going to switch up their things because they don't. Once again, and she testified the child has had no incidents, which means that whatever that child consumed while that child was there was the correct thing for that child to consume every other weekend for the 2 years. So she said that she's the one that sent things over. She might have sent things over because she might have said, okay, we're using this particular type of diapers. We're using this particular type of things. But at some point, he has to know which ones they are. Well, and there's no way that his mother and father are going to sit there. Especially, I'm not trying to be funny, but there's no way his mother's not going to make sure that is this pamper with this green label with this pink unicorn on it is going to be this label. Because when this child goes back home, if that child goes back home without that particular pamper, diaper, whatever, is going to be a problem. So once again, 65 instances, 65 occasions, no incidents. So that means
she said also his parents bought stuff for the child. So now that's what disqualifying him because he didn't give anything. The parents bought it. You now still giving,
The
but
child,
not
the
him.
child still received it.
We never rotated bottles or clothes or anything like that. I gave them back everything that she would be wearing.
So she sent the child there with no clothes,
I guess
not
not.
even a backup outfit while she's in the car.
According to that statement.
And I'd get my clothes back. But he never ever financially assisted me in any type of way, not even with $200 a month. That is not true. I'm
So
sorry.
do you think what he bought added up to $200 a month?
Not on his behalf, but I'm not so sure. I can't say. I mean, to the last time she was there, which was Easter, she was wearing a outfit that I believe was less than 2 years of age, and it wasn't even something that covered her fully. But when I got a glimpse of him, he had a whole new fresh tattoo on his chest.
Okay.
I'm sorry. She sounds as phony as an $8 bill. I don't believe that. There's no way someone who's involved with their child like that is going to sit there and not get anything for their child. And then he has parents that are involved as well, and they're going to just sit there and let this child look like a orphan. That doesn't sound right.
Ms. Peoples, did you recalculate
Yes, Judge. So I recalculated the retro based on Mr. Granado's testimony of $200 a month for the past 42 months, which would give him a credit of $8,400. And that would be a retro judgment of $8,496. And the payout would be $93 a month.
This is what it's actually boiling down to: the dollars and the cents. Looks like she wants to punish him for not being there with her and the child. So she's going to try and get him to pay through the nose. So that's why any money he put up is no longer counted. And now it's like, oh no, you didn't give me anything. Oh, that never happened. That's what it sounds like right here.
So for visitation, Ms. Gomez, I'm going to give him standard visitation. You named 2 things, but he has been seeing this child. He's been a part of this child's life. This child has been spending the night with him and his parents. He doesn't mind that if that's a condition that he has to be with her at his parents' house. And so I'm not going to take that away from her because she's already had that relationship with him.
I
So I'm
understand.
not going to do no overnights. Now, after she turns 3, he will not be required to stay at his parents' house anymore. If that works for him, that's fine and that's good. And he can continue to do that, but I won't require it after she turns 3. You can tell me where you want the exchange to take place. I think it should take place at his parents' house, since that's where they're going to be staying, and you don't want him to know where you live. Is that okay with you? Or do you want to exchange her somewhere else? But a park where y'all agree will not do, because you may never agree and he may never get his child. I need a place.
It just got real quiet up there in the courtroom. I hear a whole lot of quietness. What's really going on?
To exchange her.
There is I'm sorry to interrupt, but there is a grocery store that's close to her parents' house and mine that we could meet at. What's
the name of the grocery store, sir?
It's called El Rio Grande, I believe. Right, Brenda?
Your Honor, he said these exact same things on March 1st, and then a few days later, he called me and told me himself that she will not be at the location of his parents' house, and that I will not get her whereabouts as to just where she lays her head at night. That is the only reason why. And he himself had told me that he no longer wanted me to even step foot to drop her off at his parents' house, even though I would only just go to pick her up and drop her off.
If a man tells you he doesn't want you stepping foot in his house or around his parents' house, it's because you showed your behind the last time you were there and was so embarrassing that you will never get the opportunity to embarrass him like that again. That's the only reason why a statement like that would be made. So that's it's a little more than just dropping her off and picking her up. Otherwise, those words would have never been there. And then he came up in the middle of and said, "Excuse me," and said, "I have a location we can go to do this." And a halfway point between her house, her parents, and my parents.
I understand that Mia has built a relationship. She asked for them, and I know she loves them. But
Okay,
my
so
only concern,
what is,
I'm sorry,
what's your concern?
is that he's only saying these things because he's in front of a judge, like he did last time over the phone with the courthouse. And then just a few days later, he calls me and tells me otherwise, which is why I called to vacate the previous order. And on top of that, he does drugs.
And how long have you known he does drugs?
Since I've known him.
Okay, and you chose to have Mia with him, right?
Yes.
And so you knew before you made that decision that he did drugs.
Yes.
The testimony is going to the sour grapes portion of the testimony and the character assassination. Now he went from, he's the worst thing since the last worst thing came out. Now all of a sudden he's not this, he's not that. He's the worst thing ever. Oh my gosh. I don't know what was going on. Now it's starting to look like I didn't disparage the respondent enough in open court testimony. I haven't slandered him enough. The picture I'm painting is not being perceived on your part. And let's go sensationalize. Drugs, Yana. Drugs. Ridiculous. It's looking like anything to get the money as long as you don't get to see this child and there's no bond between you and this child, that's yours. I'm glad the judge is able to pick the sense from the nonsense. Shout out to the Judge Washington.
But he's
But
mad.
what I will do is I will put an injunction in the order that says he's not to do any drugs or alcohol 12 hours prior to getting her and the whole time he's with her. Okay?
He has manhandled her.
Okay. Ms. Gomez, I don't know how to tell you this except that when people get mad, they do strange things.
Not the
You
first.
yourself told me that he, prior to 6 months ago, had a perfectly fine relationship with his child.
He's mad every time he got upset with me, whether it was a minor disagreement, he'd manhandled me.
That's not what you said. She asked you, were there any other
That was the most recent one.
oh no, she asked you, were there any other incidents? You didn't say anything about him manhandling Mia. So we're past evidence now. I'm just trying to work out a order with you guys so that it'll be good for everybody, but mostly so it'll be good for Mia. And if his parents love Mia, they're not going to allow him to manhandle her.
Once again, shout out to Judge Washington, seeing through the crap and nipping that right in the bud. This is so true. You have grandparents involved. There's no way they're going to sit there and let this man sit there and manhandle his own child. They'll do something about that. They'll step in and interfere with that. But shout out to the judge for seeing through her last-ditch attempt at trying to keep this man from his child.
So he's going to have visitation every other weekend at his parents' house. I want to know where you want the exchange to take place.
police station. I don't want to be near
We're
him.
not going to the police station because that makes it unnormal for Mia. Just
Okay.
give me a public place.
I'm
Where-
fine. Grocery store El Rio, as long as I do not come in contact with him.
Well, she's 2. You can't just put her out and let
Oh,
her
no,
walk to you.
I'd rather exchange her with his mother then. I do not want to come in
Or
contact.
you can have somebody on your side of the family take her. You don't have to go.
Do that as-
Okay. Or you can have somebody go with you so that you don't have to come in contact with him. They can just hand him the baby and the baby stuff, and that'll be all.
As we can all see, she's visibly upset over the fact that she has no control over the outcome, and it's like, oh, and still trying to exert control in the situation. Oh, get someone else to come get the baby. No, then you don't show up. Let someone else take the child to him. Again, shout out to the judge for making sense from the nonsense.
All of this stuff can be worked out if all of us conduct ourselves like adults and do what's best for Mia.
Yes, but
Okay.
he's lying. But okay.
Okay. Ma'am, I don't know that he's lying.
His own
Okay.
family knows that he's lying.
Okay. I don't know that. And as far as I'm concerned, he hasn't given me any reason to think he's a liar. Okay. As far as the exchange is going to be, what is the name of the grocery store?
El Rio,
El Rio. And can you tell me the street name?
Lake June and Masters.
At Lake June and Masters.
Yes.
And as far as the retroactive child support judgment goes, I'll give him credit for $4,200. That leaves a $12,696 judgment.
So blanket accusations without supported evidence will not ride in court. And I don't know about anyone in the audience, but my personal experience, I've seen Hispanic grandmothers, and they are very doted. They dote on their grandchildren for the most part. And there's no way in the world that a Hispanic grandmother or grandfather who dotes on their grandchild and their first grandchild is going to sit there and let this child look like Oliver Twist in the orphanage. It's just not happening. That's not realistic. It just does not happen. And he got credit, half the credit of the $8,000. He got $4,000, which is good because the plaintiff was shooting to give him 0 credit and just pay all over again. Shout out to the judge for seeing through the nonsense.
$12,696, Judge.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Granados,
Yes, ma'am.
you are charged with keeping Mia safe while she is in your possession. You are also charged with letting Mia's mom know where she is. She should always be able to call you and contact you and speak to her child. She should always be reassured that her child is okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You suggested that the visits take place at your parents' house. So until she is 3, I expect the visits to take place at your parents' house.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anything further, Ms. Peoples?
Judge, so the payout on that retro, the state will request $114 a month.
That's fine, Ms. Peoples.
Okay. And nothing further from the state.
Okay. All right. If the non-disclosure is granted, and was that all? I'm trying to make sure I covered everything.
That was it, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. But I've said all of that to say this. If you do not agree with my ruling, you have 3 days to appeal and 30 days to file a motion for new trial. I am not the last word. Do you both understand?
Yes.
Ma'am.
Okay. Then if you don't have any questions, you are both free to go. And thank you for appearing here today.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How do I proceed with appealing?
The AG's office will let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Well, as you have it. The only issue I have with the judge is the one statement she made, even though I know the context she made it in, but I know based on the character of the testimony that the plaintiff has made, she's going to run with that statement. When she said she used to know about her child, because first of all, that's the problem we have now as it is, that they had the impression that's not their child, but her child. No, it's their child. And she, in her delusion, is going to run with that statement. Then on top of that, it's obvious she's bitter and angry and is on a vendetta because in spite of the fact that the ruling was fair and just and everyone was accommodating on all parts, she is not willing to take accountability for her actions. She's not willing to be reasonable or even to compromise for the sake of the child. She wants it her way, and that's just all there is to it. Yeah, see how this works out for her. This message is for all our loyal listeners and supporters. And what had happened was, who have been requesting that we give them an email address where they can send us videos that they'd like for us to comment on. We heard you. Now we've answered. Here's the address. The above address, when it happened was 47@gmail.com, is the address you can forward any videos that you'd like for us to comment on. Again, as long as it's a video we're willing to comment on, we'll have that. And if we do one of your videos, we will give you a shout out on the air. So here it is once again. This is our email address for those who like to send us videos and like us to comment on. It doesn't have to be just court cases, whatever it is that you like us to comment on. If it's political, we will not be talking about it. We don't get into politics.
Thanks for watching.
And also give us a thumbs up, like, comment, share. Subscribe to the channel and you'll be notified of every video as they come up. And get that algorithm going and help us build this channel in 2024.
And make sure that you don't wind up in a what had happened situation. Boom, boom, boom.